Hey guys, welcome to today's PSA. As you can tell by the title, today's PSA is about being genuine, and I wanted to do this topic for a couple of reasons. One, because it's a really great time because school is just getting started. People are getting introduced to all kinds of new groups of people, whether you're going back to school and there's new students, or whether you're transferring schools, maybe you're going into college or high school, and there's a lot of times that you're a new situation. I've been the new student multiple times throughout my life, and so I know how it feels to be like the only kid that walks into the school and doesn't know anyone, and you kind of just have to like figure out who you want to be friends with. There are a lot of times where you're in those situations, and especially if you're like me where you're really shy, and I have a pretty bad confidence issue. I'm not a very super confident person. It's really easy when you meet people or you're starting to form friendships to maybe misrepresent, not outright lie, but maybe pretend to be interested in something that you're not super interested in, or maybe you act excited about a band that you don't necessarily like, or whatever the case may be, in order to get somebody to get to know you better and to be friends. The problem with that is that over time, that fact becomes something that you have to continue living up to. And depending on how many of those small facts you've misrepresented or pretended to care about that you don't, you start to have to lie about the person that you are. And friendships and relationships can never last when they're built on lies. No matter how small they are, at some point, those lies all come forward. And it's really hard to continue friendships and relationships when someone doesn't know the complete you. And I've seen this recently with some of my own close friends. I've seen relationships and friendships end. And when you go back and look at the relationship between the two people or the group of people, it's pretty easy to see that the person who opted to leave the group, or maybe someone that was like, I just can't be friends with this person anymore. It seems to me that a lot of the times I've been seeing this recently, it's because one person wasn't necessarily allowing themselves to be completely them, and they either hid a part of themselves that they didn't want to come forward because they thought people would judge them, or maybe it's because they pretended to be a lot more interested in something that they weren't, and then after a while they just get bored and they can't keep up the facade anymore, and then the friends are like, why are we friends if you don't actually like this thing? And they fall apart. And it's really sad to see, not only because you want your friends to be happy and happy with their friendships and their relationships, but also because it's sad to see that that person couldn't represent themselves to the completeness of who they were. They felt like people wouldn't accept them, and that's really hard to see. I can say for myself, I have done this. I have back, in high school, I was super nerdy and dorky, and I didn't, necessarily want to tell everybody, like, I just go home and play The Sims all day long, right? Like, none of my friends that were on my cheerleading team were interested in video gaming, and so it was a part of myself that maybe I didn't necessarily come forward and say, like, look how dorky I am, because I wanted to be accepted. I was the new kid, and I didn't want people to be like, oh my gosh, she's such a nerd. Now I'm like proud of it, whatever. But back then it was something that I thought people would like ostracize me for, or they wouldn't want to be my friend. And now as an adult, I can look back and say, I don't really have a single friend from high school that I talk to. I have some friends that I keep in touch with every now and then, and my one super duper close friend that I still like go to lunch with every now and then, she probably knows me better than anybody. She knows that I'm super dorky and super nerdy, and she got to know me outside of school at a job that we worked at together, and she's still someone that I talk to because I was able to be myself with her. My current friends, my best relationships that I have right now with my friends are people that I didn't expect to like see again, or people that I thought like would ever in a bajillion years like be interested in being friends with me. And so I was just completely myself and out there and wacky and goofy, and there are people that are still friends of mine to this day. A great example of that actually, and you guys can go back and watch the videos, at PAX East 2013. I had met Good and Paz before at a PlayOnCon that previous, I guess that would have been like a July before that. But there were a bunch of new people that I had never met before. Direwolf, Jenny was there and I had met him before. Jordan was there. I wish I could like remember. I think Jaded Cat I met at that PAX East. There were a bunch of people specifically from the FTB community. I know for certain Sky Does Minecraft was there. There were a bunch of people that I met at that PAX East. We went out to karaoke and I was like, I'm around all these people. I am like a nobody in this sea of whatever. They're probably not even going to remember that they've ever talked to me. And I got up and I did karaoke and I sang Love Shack with like these women that I had never met before, and those are now some of my closest friends. Everybody that was in that room that night are people that I am still friends with today. And I think that speaks very true. I have had very close relationships and been in relationships before where someone would say like, oh, well, you would look better if you dressed this way. And I would be like, oh, okay, well, I want them to like me, and so I would dress this way. Or, well, you should wear your hair this way, or you would look really pretty if you did X, Y, and Z. And I would do those things. And slowly over time, I became somebody that I didn't want to be. And it was really hard to then go back to those friends and go back into those relationships and say, this isn't really me. I want to be this way. I want to be my nerdy self, and I want to, wear my Star Wars t-shirts and be goofy and say dumb things and make funny jokes. And it was really hard. I lost a lot of friends during that time, and I lost a lot of relationships during that period of my life, and it was a very hard time for me. And I remember being really kind of alone and feeling like, I was so unhappy being somebody that I wasn't true to myself. But now I'm kind of alone. And now being past that point, I can say that I am very happy with my friendships. And I am very happy that people accept me for who I am. And I went through a really rough patch where I questioned, did I make the right decisions by coming forward and saying, like, this is not the kind of person that I want to be. And now being past that point, I can tell you with absolute certainty that it is much better to be yourself, because at the end of the day, at least if you're yourself and you're lonely, you can be happy with who you are, because being around a bunch of people that are your friends, but they're friends because they think that you're someone that you're not, is still extremely lonely. And in fact, it's probably even lonelier because at home when you're by yourself, you don't even feel like people like you for you, which is a worse feeling in my opinion. So I can tell you guys that I wanted to just do a vlog and talk about it and kind of open up the communication, maybe in the comments below if you guys have said like, yeah, I joined, a sports team, or I was friends with a group of people that weren't necessarily people that I really had anything in common with, but I just wanted to be accepted. We can talk about that in the comments below. I think it's a really common thing. I think everybody does it at some point in their life, and that's okay. I think it's a growing thing. And I think the other thing that's really important to talk about is that people do change. It's okay to be yourself and to be, really interested in, maybe one type of hobby or a certain type of music. And as we grow, our tastes change and our preferences change, and we discover new hobbies or new types of music, and we identify more closely with a different group of people or a different type, of environment, and that's okay. But I think what's really important is that you have the communication with those people and say, hey, I'm really interested in this new thing, or like, hey, yeah, that thing that we had in common is really cool, and I like that, but I also really like this other thing, are you interested in that? I think when we break down the communication and we try to hide parts of ourselves, or we try to keep up a facade because we're afraid that people will judge us, that's when we become unhappy. And if you're not happy with yourself, you will never be able to be happy with other people. You can enjoy the company of others when you don't feel like those other people enjoy your company and your true company, like who you are. It is a very lonely feeling, and I've seen so many people who are just unhappy, and they're unhappy, and the base of their unhappiness is because they're not even true to themselves, and you can see it. You're like, why are you pretending to like this thing? Like, I know that's not you. Just be yourself. Like, you are an awesome person, and you're letting these other people dictate who you are and take away something that you should be proud of. You'll never be happy. You will never ever be able to be happy with your life, with your situation, when you can't feel proud of yourself. And as someone who struggles with confidence issues, or someone who is shy, a lot of times, I know most people are surprised about that. In most situations, I'm very shy. In a room of people that I don't know, I'm pretty shy, unless I'm pretty certain I will never see those people again, in which case I'm like, I've got nothing to lose. But if it's a group of like my peers who I'm like, I'm gonna have to see these people again, like now, I would be very intimidated walking into a room of content creators I didn't know, because I will probably have to interface with that person at some point again in the future. And what if I like say something and they're like, wow, that girl's like super dorky, and like, I am dorky, and I'm embrace the dorkiness, but what if you hate the dorkiness? I don't want to be hated. I don't want people to hate me, right? And so I can tell you, like, it's not something that like you just snap your fingers like, I'm always confident in myself and I'm gonna be happy with myself forever. Like, you're gonna probably walk into situations even when you are happy with yourself and be like, I don't know if these people are gonna be down with what I am. So, I mean, I think that that's a normal struggle. I think everybody kind of has that, but I just really don't want, especially those of you who are in high school or going into college, I especially don't want the feeling that you want to fit in to lead you to making bad decisions. Most of the things that I've done in my life that I can look back and be like, that was really stupid, why did I do that? Focused around the fact that I wanted to be accepted, and I was peer pressured, or I wanted to do something because I thought that it would make me relatable to the group of people that I was with. And there are few things in my life that I regret that I didn't do and look back and say, that's not something I would have done had it not been for the want to be accepted, or to feel like I fit in, or to feel like I was relatable to someone else. And I don't want that. I don't want that for any of you guys. I want you to look back on your life and say, I don't regret these things. And even if you regret something, it can be like, I regret doing the Carlton out of the restaurant to make Chad laugh. But it's not an actual regret where like I stay up and think like that was just a really bad decision. I have lost friends to drunk drivers who were drinking underage, and maybe they weren't being peer pressured and that was something that they wanted to do, but maybe they were peer pressured, and now my friends are gone because of that. And even on a less serious note, people who struggle with anxiety or self-doubt or confidence issues, I don't want you to have confidence issues because you think that you have to be someone different to fit in. I want you to all be happy and healthy, and I want you to be proud of the things that make you different, and the things that somebody out there, someone is always going to not like you. There are plenty of people who don't like me, and that's okay. I can accept that, and that's great, but I can also accept the fact that they don't like me for being genuine to who I am, and I would rather be disliked for being genuine to who I am than liked for being something that I'm not and have to continue that charade for forever. I don't want that. And so I wish that kind of peace of mind on you guys. I want you guys to all be, like I said, happy and healthy, and just realize that you will fit in somewhere. And if you don't fit in with that group, then you will fit in somewhere else. No one is completely without a place to belong. Everyone has somewhere to belong, and I can promise you that, especially on the days of the internet, you can like Google the thing that like you think makes you different and find 100 other people who have that exact same thing, and people that can relate to you. So I just want to tell you guys, I love you very much. I hope that you guys don't have to have some of the same struggles that I had because of the inability to be genuine to who I was or the desire to fit in. And I love you guys. We're a big group of goobery, sparkly unicorn, majestic land mermaids, and I love you. So please don't feel like you don't fit in, because you do. And before I get emotional and cry, I just want to tell you guys that. So, yay! No tears. Happy tears if you're gonna cry. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't checked out my new vlogging channel so you can see me not always talking serious but doing vlogs and things, you should go check it out. It's youtube.com/Aurey, IRL, AUREYIRL, and see all the things that I'm doing when I'm not making these videos and traveling and being crazy. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all your support. I wouldn't be able to be myself if it weren't for you guys, and you have 100% changed my life, and I will always, always thank you, love you, and appreciate that from you.